Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for spending your morning with us. Today, we've got an exciting webinar called Insights into the Workforce of the Future. I think this is a subject that certainly educators talk about all the time. And we're going to have some great insights from our speaker, which I'll introduce here in just 1 minute. All right, before we begin, it's not. Hey, Teresa, could you flip the slides for me? It's not working for some reason. Okay, so let me introduce so good morning again, everybody. My name is Ernie Friend, the director of FLATE. Really excited to welcome or recognize the FLATE team, Dr. Marilyn Barger, who is our senior education advisor. Daniele Orsacol is our career and technical education manager, and Teresa Potter is our community engagement manager. So this is the FLATE team. We are certainly here to help, and we're going to talk about some of those ways that we can help on the next few slides. Yeah, next slide, Teresa. Yeah, for some reason it's not working for me. Okay, so the vision of FLATE is to drive Florida's world-class manufacturing workforce education and training, and we do that in many ways, which the next slides will cover. But I definitely want to leave this impression for you. If you have any questions about how to connect with other educators, connect with the manufacturing industry, or just any questions in general about curriculum or hosting any kind of events, please reach out to one of or all of us, and we'll be happy to help you do that. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we do are curriculum reform and development. FLATE works very closely with the engineering technology degree, which is at about 24 of the 28 state colleges, as well as other manufacturing related degrees. So we can, sort of help coordinate the curriculum development, work with industry to make sure that that the latest technologies are included where necessary in the statewide frameworks and the college's curriculum. We also do student pipeline development. We spend a lot of time working on that, helping parents and students and even teachers understand the great opportunities that are available in manufacturing careers. And we do professional development for educators. We have a whole host of those. Hopefully, if you're on our mailing list, you have gotten a recent update about that. If not, if you can go to the flate.org website, you can find the latest professional development opportunities listed there. All right, next slide, please. So as far as student pipeline development, we do that by promoting manufacturing education in general. We do a lot of manufacturing day, month events. So we either put those on ourselves if we can, or certainly partner with schools and industry who are interested. We've got a manufacturing dashboard, so you can go to manufacturingmattersfl.org to get there, or you can go to the FLATE website and reach our manufacturing dashboard. We also host a manufacturing educator award program that Daniele leads for us. That's closed for this year, but certainly it's never too early to consider that. So if you have any questions about that, please let us know. Teresa leads up our monthly newsletter. So if you have some interesting events that you would like, for us to know about and possibly get in the newsletter, please send them our way. Any kind of outreach events that you're doing or anything that educators could benefit from or industry, please let us know. We'll get that to Teresa to incorporate into our newsletter. Also support STEM summer camps. We, had a Marilyn Barger, Dr. Barger, who's with us on the call here, has done a great job through a series of grants over the last 20 years on doing summer camps. But even if it's not one that we host ourselves, certainly there's many that we're aware of. And like I mentioned, you can find out about those in our newsletter and develop and disseminate resources for recruiting girls. That information is available at one of our FLATE websites, which we'll take a look at the slide coming up. All right, next slide, please. All right, professional development for educators. So we've got the ET Forum, which we just hosted last week at Pasco Hernando State College. The next one is at Northwest Florida State College on September 11th and 12th. So you'll be hearing about the details about that soon. But if you want to put that on your calendar, we'd love to have you up there. It's in Destin, so it's not only a great school and a great forum, but it's also a great place to spend a few days on the beach in Destin. Um, we do technology demonstration projects, series of educator workshops. Um, when we do have grant funding, we help with conference attendance, support for faculty. We do online webinars, which we're experiencing today, and help programs. We provide mentoring to help programs grow across the state. Okay, so these are some of our main websites. We got the FLATE.org website, lots of good resources there. Made in Florida. So please take a look at all these. It's madeinflorida.org and our wiki. Combined, all these with our dashboard, I think can give you a lot of resources to either understand what's happening in manufacturing, or if you'd like to put on some events, we've got some great resources for girls, K-12, all the way up to state colleges. And you can learn about all the great events that we've got going on at these websites as well. All right, next slide, please. Okay, now it is my pleasure to introduce today's webinar, which is Insights into the Workforce of the Future. So our presenter today is Anna Sarah Sasmiresan, and she is the VP at Randstad Operational Talent Solutions. And we were very happy to have her here. She's got some great research on sort of the future workforce. So let me hand it over to Anna.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much, Arnie. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to share this information with you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Anna Sasmiresan. I'm the Vice President with Randstad in South and North Florida, and I also work with the Maxwell Leadership Organization. And the reason I mention Maxwell Leadership is because as I go through this presentation, I'm actually going to be sharing a little bit about the newest generation that is not currently in the workforce. So I'm going to combine a couple of resources that I present today. I've had the privilege of developing my career at Randstad. I have been with this wonderful organization for the last 19 years. And Randstad is not just the global HR service leader. And in addition to staffing and HR, we're also a valuable resource for clients, communities, and organizations like yours when it comes to knowledge about people strategies, what are the trends in the workforce, and just market trends that have to do with employment. So that's really what I'm here to speak about today. And for some reason, I'm also not able to shift the slides. So if you would shift them for me, that would be great. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be presenting lots of information from our most recent Randstad Work Monitor. And at the end, I'll also give you the opportunity to download the entire report if you'd like to learn a little more in detail about what we found across the world in 2025. This has been a 22-year large-scale study because although this started 22 years ago, and we found the information to be so important for the work that we do and for the work that our clients are doing, that we continued each year to understand what do employees want, how are they changing, and how do those changes affect how we work and even how we have to build and transform our organizations. And so you may be wondering, why are we talking about the current workplace? Well, the kids and the youth that you are preparing in the classroom today are preparing to enter this workplace, which is actually very changing very, very fast. The survey provides an inside look at attitudes that employees have, ambitions, and how those ambitions have changed, and expectations that they have in the world of work. Overall, the workplace is forever transforming. And we will see a little bit of how today. As I wrap up the presentation, I will actually end with some of my own personal research about the alpha generation. And the alphas are also known as digital natives. They're not in the workplace yet. They are, however, forming a very strong force for change. They are currently in the classrooms, and many of you probably can testify just how powerful and firm and convicted they are. I'll also take some questions at the end. So let's jump in. You mind going to the next slide? Next two, actually. So in 2025, we began to see a new workplace baseline emerging. And that is that success, as we knew it before, is being redefined. What we do as a function at work, it's important, but it's not enough. And the talent motivation is found more deeply in purpose. There is an increased focus on personal values alignment, and we'll talk more about that in just a few slides. And ambition is also being redefined in a more personalized way. Talent really have a very clear interest and a vision of community, even at work, as a space where they belong, where they thrive, and where they can bring their full selves. And that is an ambition that they have as well. And of course, as technology accelerates, and you all are very familiar with this, especially for the manufacturing arena, the talent and employees in general are looking to upgrade the way they work and to maximize AI tools. This is also very present for our newest generation. And we'll dive a little bit into that as we wrap up the presentation today. So let's just dive into each one of these a little bit and give a little more generational information to see the differences and similarities and how the world of work is evolving. If you don't mind to go forward. And one more. Values alignment is, and this idea of belonging, and really in its true meaning, mattering. Do I matter at work? Am I valued at work? Is what I most appreciate and believe in, is it aligned with what I do at work? These are becoming very essential. And talent are emphasizing the importance of feeling comfortable with sharing their personal points of view at work. So some of the stats are from other countries, but I'll point to the one from the US. 28% of US workers say that they have quit a job simply because they were not comfortable sharing their personal viewpoints at work. Had nothing to do with pay, had nothing to do with opportunity. They just couldn't be themselves. That is a very big shift that we see this year. And this is a big change for many generations because really the corporate narrative that was embraced before is really changing now, and people want to have a more personalized experience. So what we see now is that talent expect to be uniquely accepted without judgment and without discrimination. And you see there between 2024, the 16% overall quits because of not being able to share their viewpoints at work actually increased to 27% in 2025. That is a very big jump in just 1 year. And let's go to the... So a across the 4 generations that are currently in the workplace today, the baby boomers, the oldest generation, Gen X, the millennials, they're also known as Gen Y, and the Gen Z, we are seeing that pay and so salary, how much they're paid, and the need for life-work balance, it's actually tied. And especially for, if you see here, for Gen X and baby boomers, it's pretty much the same. And maybe what's really even more important is that for millennials and Gen Z, pay is actually third in priority. That is a very big change. And it's an important shift to consider because today millennials are making up the largest working population and Gen Z are coming right after. So employers, they really need to pay attention very closely to designing work around the employees' lives and not the other way around. They also are, there's a strong leadership responsibility that is required to develop successful business models that inspire job security, that give people a future. At the same time, while compensation is very important, employees today are seeking jobs that provide a more holistic experience that meets their diverse needs and aspirations. And you may have heard many years ago people accepting jobs and picking up their lives and moving across the countries, and sometimes even multiple times throughout their careers. They were following a job. Well, since COVID, and most importantly, even now in 2025, and we believe even beyond 2025, that expectation has flipped. Employees are truly expecting for companies to come to them to create equitable, respectful, and growth oriented work environments that fit their lives, and their priorities because of this have shifted. So let's take a look at the next slide at some specific stats by generation. So in the first one, it says, I would quit my job if my request for flexibility was not accommodated. Between the 4 generations that work today, the statistics are 33 to 58%. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that employees are looking to have 100% of their flexibility requirements met, but they want to be heard and they want to see employers make an effort to understand what's going on in their life. The second one is, if money were no problem, I would choose not to work at all. I get a kick out of this one, but 48 to 59% of people, so between the generations, answer that they wouldn't work if they didn't have to because of financial reasons, right? The third one, I've quit a job because it didn't fit my personal life. That is a very large percentage, 24 to 42%. Again, it goes back to this personalization that that employees are looking in their work environments. Again, I think advancing in my career is my responsibility and not my employer. This is actually something that I love to see, that employees are actually taking ownership of their own career advancement, personal development, and even professional development. That is a shift, a higher shift that we see as well, which I think is very positive, 31 to 42%. But it actually ties into the fact that employees are becoming more in control of their career and the direction of their career. And then the fifth one, I would quit a job if I didn't agree with the viewpoints of the leadership. 38 to 53% between the 4 generations. Very large percent as well. Now, a statistic that is not even on the slide, which I think is so important. It's so important. I hide my real self at work. This is actually so impactful. 59% of baby boomers say they hide their real self at work. 75% of Gen X, 74% of millennials, and 78% of Gen Z. this is really what's driving this change in attitudes, in ambition, and in redefining success for ourselves. Because at a very high rate in every generation, people go to work and they don't feel like they are valued for who they are. Essentially, if employees feel that they're just surviving at work and they cannot be themselves, they are okay living with less, right? Making that salary not the most important characteristic. And as markets continue to see this talent scarcity, companies have to pay attention, a very good attention, to their cultures, to the environments, to the policies that they have, and to take very good care of their employees. Is the conversation flipping maybe, which before it was which candidate fits the employer, right? Which the employer makes the decision. Is it flipping to which employer fits the candidate? I suppose over the next few years, we will really have to see how this continues to evolve. But on the next slide, in summary, talent, they want to feel unique. They want to have a personalized work experience that fits their lives. They don't want to just be defined by a function. They want that human factor. And if not, as we see, they are prepared to leave jobs to better align with their priorities. In the next part, we'll talk about community. So let's go 2 slides and let's take a look at what is community at work. Many people today are looking for a sense of belonging and a purpose in their work. They desire a connection that is not just about personal fulfillment, but it's also beneficial for companies. And our research shows that a strong sense of community boosts productivity and it actually promotes employee well-being. 76 to 84% of participants want the workplace to feel more like a community. And really across all job functions, if you see there on the bottom, blue collar, so the industrial functions, 80% of them want to feel like a part of this community. I like to call it work family. Those aren't exactly the words the research used, but again, to feel like they are more than just there to do the job and leave, but they are valued and they are participating in this collective success. 85% of gray collar, which are those jobs that have a mix of office and industrial, very large number, and 83% of professional and office jobs are looking for that community. So really, essentially, people of all generations and in almost all jobs no longer just want to come to work, put their head down, work their schedule, and leave. They want to find meaning through work. They want to achieve team success, which is great. I think that's a huge positive. They want to belong and they want to make a difference. And they want to be involved in organizations that make a difference. And ultimately, they want to be heard. They want organizations to hear them out, to understand what they prioritize, and to build the workplaces where they will thrive. So on the next slide, let's take a look at the industries that provide this community, this sense of community today. I loved seeing this really across all of these industries with the financial services at the highest. But as you see, manufacturing, 76% of the manufacturing participants said that within the organization, this community has already developed. And it's fostering a feeling of being successful together. On the next slide, let's take a look at some strategies to foster this sense of community, to leverage community impact, to connect employees through volunteer days, by tapping into their passions and their missions. And we see this more and more, organizations creating social responsibility programs that are bringing their teams together to contribute to a different mission than what the company is actually producing or serving. Also, another strategy would be around building inclusion with diverse hiring processes and also creating collaborative team around different events or projects that creates a winning team spirit where they can share each other's point of views, they can contribute with their God-given gifts and just really make a difference in the organization. Another one would be to harness these micro moments with quick check-ins and just really casual discussions where employees feel heard and valued. So they don't have to be long one-on-one meetings, but maybe just really brief opportunities to have conversations between leaders and employees, and where people walk away feeling really heard, feeling like they mattered, like their leader and their leader took the time to stop for this even micro moment to just hear them and appreciate them. And that creates community. And then, of course, celebrating milestone to recognize achievements, solo achievements, but even more so, team achievements. And within those celebrations, if specific people are also mentioned for how they each contributed to the overall team success. Also, in the spirit of celebration, even peer-to-peer recognition, developing this culture where people are able to say, thank you, so and so. Without your help, I would not have succeeded. Your actions contributed so much to what I was able to achieve. Most of these are really actually free to do. So when we really think about how we can foster a sense of community within our companies, it's really about just paying attention and creating some programs that involve the employees into building this community together. So in summary, on the next slide, employees are looking for a community at work where they belong, where they feel valued and seen, where they can be themselves, and where they can make a difference. And employers must demonstrate that they are committed to the needs of their employees when it comes to community. Next, we'll talk about opportunities through skilling. Because the workplace is evolving at a very fast pace, actually much faster than the education system can actually keep up with. So what are the reskilling trends over the next few years? Because in this environment, jobs are evolving daily. Every industry is involved in ongoing transformation, whether they're incorporating AI or they are bringing along different disruptive projects or emerging technologies. All these make upskilling and reskilling important for both sides, for employers and for employees. Now, career progression and development has been a strategy for a very long time to retain and grow talent. In order to really maximize the skill gap, we see a 9% increase in training and development programs between 2022 and 2025. And of course, with these also opportunities. So if you see here, training and development opportunities in organizations have increased in the last 6 months. As you see, the stats from 2022 to 2025, each year it's been a little increase. And we believe that this is just going to continue to evolve. Now, going on the next slide, Gen Z and Gen Y, they say that they feel they have a lot more opportunities, and they demand it. And employers know that in order to keep them, they must provide it. And as you see here are the industries that are providing the most development with IT and telecom, leading the way at 53, and most relevant for this group, the manufacturing um, uh, industry, with 35% more opportunities for development in the last 6 months. This is huge. We're talking about a very short period of time. So it really means that within these organizations, the work is evolving. It's evolving very quickly. So because of that, there is that need to increase opportunities very quickly, to retrain, to change processes, to update machinery, to automate. But maybe what is most important at the center of all this is how to take the workforce through this process, through reskilling and development. So let's take a look on the next slide at some strategies to grow your team through skilling. The first suggestion is really to create project-based opportunities, to diversify the skills, and to also to bring innovation. Also to embrace skill-based hiring, to prioritize transferable skills over that rigid job title match. To really take a look at what are the candidates in the market bringing to the table and how those skills can be utilized in the specific industry, in the specific company. Then to create and to build trust around these personal learning pathways, and also to use tech-focused upskilling. There are so many programs that allow employees and even students to experiment with different skills before they're actually required on the job. Incorporating AI is important, data analytics, really teaching people to read how their work is being developed and how data is impacting the change as they work in their roles. And then to foster loyalty with mentorship and even reverse mentorship. Reverse mentorship is a newer term where more older and experienced workers are actually learning from the newer generation. And while they may not be learning how things have been done, they may be learning new perspectives that the newer generation is bringing to the workplace. And this in its own, it's actually has the power to close that generational gap. And then to just have really clear career growth opportunities, and to present these opportunities to their workforce ongoingly so that people have the opportunity to learn skills that are required for a future promotion. So on the next slide, in summary, skilling is just vital for employers to attract and to retain talent. In fact, you will see today many people that are looking for a new opportunity, they ask about what is the training, what is the long-term career mobility, what are the future opportunities, how is the organization transforming. Now, equitable access to training is also very essential. So where people can actually choose to learn the various skills that are required for the future of the organization. And employers must build trust by investing in continuous learning opportunities. This shows their employees that they want and invest in the future together. And on the next slide, as we took a look at all these findings in 2025, the need for personalization, ambition around community and belonging, and now up to reskilling, we've explored the why, we've explored the who and the how of the modern workplace. It all ties together with trust. And trust is a new workplace baseline that is emerging and has been around for a long time, but it is certainly even more pronounced in 2025. It's about personal motivations, a sense of community, and ongoing skills development. As talent scarcity increases and companies that prioritize aligning their workplaces with employees' expectations, they will be most successful in attracting, retaining, and building a strong foundation for long-term success. And that's what's happening in the workplace today. But how about the new generation? The one that it's still being born and they are also in the schools today. What about them? I'd like to share some characteristics here in the next couple of slides. And this is not from the Work Monitor. This is actually from my personal research and some of the Maxwell leadership content. So the Alpha generation, they are also known as the digital natives. Why? Because as soon as they were born, they already had an iPhone in their hands, and they're very, very connected and comfortable with technology. So they are 15 and younger. They are born between 2010 and 2025. And they're in the classrooms today, preparing themselves to enter the workplace we just spoke about. Well, the Alpha generation, they present lots of challenges, but also incredible advantages into our future. See, they have developed already as a generation that is very caring and purposeful. They value personalized experiences as well. They are very socially conscious, and they prioritize inclusivity, equality, and equity. And they're aware of the global issues that are going on and have a very strong sense of core values, even at a very young age. Many of them grew up in the midst of COVID. They had a different type of childhood because of that, depending upon at the age when they were. All these environmental things that have occurred and have really impacted who they have become. They're very creative and very curious, and they are very immersed in technology and fluid, literally fluid in the digital world. They exhibit just such a high ability of critical thinking. They're very visual and very interactive, especially in the way they learn. And they're highly adaptable. Now, in many cases, they actually don't need the teacher to teach because they have access to YouTube and a variety of websites where they can learn the content. But what they are looking for in the classroom is an opportunity to experiment with all these concepts. And that, again, presents a certain challenge to the way that the education system is designed today. They're very, very connected and social. And they're both online and offline. They're multitaskers and they possess strong social skills. They also engage a lot in visual socialization, and they thrive in these online communities where they can establish influence and a personality that people can recognize. And then, of course, they're very optimistic and innovative, even industrious. They truly are the architects of tomorrow. They are resourceful. As I said before, they're very experiential, entrepreneurial, and even though at a very young age, they are very comfortable with AI. Well, what does this all mean for educators and schools? Let's take a look at the next slide. Because to prepare the Alpha generation, we need to enhance technology tools and skills, upskilling for educators in AI and learning platforms where kids can actually be very hands-on. They are not, generally speaking, they're not learning by reading. They're very hands-on. It's more of a show and do and experiment and share how the process feels type of learning. And so we must also focus on social and coaching skills for teachers, because they have to foster meaningful conversations in order to build a strong school community. Again, remember, not just the workers, not they are certainly the employees are looking for a community at work, but the students are very community based as well, and they are looking for school to be a community for them. And then finally, we should value collaborative learning, really understand the unique learning styles of this generation. And we must create experiential learning opportunities to equip them for the future. And what does this mean? They learn more with videos, pictures, images, hard objects. So when we look at the classroom, when we have the opportunity to provide them experiential areas, they will retain and they will be able to innovate and create and adapt and really improve any of those concepts very quickly. However, you guys are probably most familiar with this because you're experiencing this today in the classroom or maybe even in your homes. As you see, this generation is poised to drive significant change for the future, and they are definitely a force for change that is evolving. So I'd love to hear from you, take some questions. That really completes my presentation today. And I think Teresa is going to share the link to the work monitor if you want to download that. I really appreciate you allowing me to share this information. Would love to see if I can answer any questions or if we wanted to have a discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. That was a great presentation. I guess one of the questions I have are, I mean, I know you probably can't name them, but are there some companies that you know of that are doing a really good job of working with this age and population?
Which population? Sorry, you caught up a little bit.
Oh, just the sort of the range of ages that you discussed here. Are there some companies, I mean, obviously not the 15-year-olds, but are there some companies that are doing a really good job of working with that generation, and like what are some of the things that they're doing?
Yeah, that is really a great question. I will tell you, there's many companies that employ all the generations. Even they may even start, with some of the programs that are available in different regions to onboard some summer interns that are even in high school. I wouldn't be able to name many today, but even within Randstad, we have people from every generation working collaboratively together on different projects, serving our clients, and so forth. So it's really about like we shared in the presentation, is about creating the mentorships, creating the reverse mentorships, and creating a space for everyone to have a voice, learning together, understanding what are the gaps in skills, and through skill and reskilling programs, closing those gaps. There's going to be some gaps for the older generations, maybe in technology, AI, faster processes, but there's also going to be some gaps for the newer generations. And most of those gaps for newer generation have to do with emotional intelligence and values, and really understanding how decisions are made. And so there's maybe the course that is provided is different, but it is about personalization in order to be able to bring the workforce, regardless of what generation they are from, to come together and achieve the mission together.
Thank you. If anybody else has any questions, please take yourself off of mute.
All right. It
No
doesn't look like
questions.
it. No
All right,
problem
well,
at all. Thank you so much. Again, just a lot of food for thought as you're looking into your own workplace strategies and how you can strengthen your people strategy. If you have any questions later, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to try to help or provide any additional resources or even just have a conversation. I appreciate the opportunity.
well, thank you very much. That was some great information. And again, here is a list of all of our contact information. So if you have any questions about this webinar, or you have questions about connecting with educators or industry or hosting events, please reach out to one of us. And certainly to stay in the know, sign up for our FLATE monthly newsletter. So if there are no questions, you guys have a great day, and we appreciate your time with us today. We look forward to seeing you next time.